What is going on, party people in the house? It's your favorite Unc. I am back. We got a lot to discuss, and we will get into it. Where the hell you been? All those kind of things. We'll get into that later in the show because I have some information that I've been dying to pass along to y'all, basically since the weekend. And I think once you get this information, it potentially will reshape how you think about your 2025 Longhorns and the difference and really the appreciation for now I'm retreating this an appreciation for what Steve Sarkeesian and the staff has built. So do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not done so. And yeah, Unk's back. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be back in front of y'all. We are getting close to really the start of football season, right? Now we had SEC Media Days last week. I was in hot Atlanta, enjoying myself, had a great time down there, got to hang out with some family members while I was there, taking all the signs and all those kind of sites and everything. So that part was fun. But that was kind of the unofficial start of the football season. Next week is when it really gets cracking because players report, good morning to you, Zio_V, players report on Monday. Monday is when players report. Tuesday, I believe, is when they're going to probably start to hopefully try to get on the field, something to that effect, right? But Monday, I think it's by like 2:00 or something like that. Everyone's got to report. So this is kind of like the last couple of days before everything kind of gets popped off, when you start getting into training camp, right? And as you know, I'm thinking about this season, as you guys are thinking about this season. And one of the things that came up in SEC Media Days that was really interesting, and I had to really take a step back on this, was realizing that this team that Sark has constructed, bottom line, all they really know is winning. Bottom line, all they know is winning. And it's different because you and I, and you probably more than me, I got here in 2014, right? Nate, no, I cannot play my Magic City dues. Let me tell you, my girl was with me. That was not going to go down. So I even tried. I was like, they got really good wings over there. She just looked. She gave me a stink face. I was like, I'm just saying, baby, they're famous for their wings. Yeah, we did not go. We got to go to a lot of other places, but I'll have to hit that when never, because sometimes she watches the show. And I never know when she watches the show. And she never tells me, but it'll just be some random thing. She'll say, "Oh, you said this." I'm like, "Oh, you was watching the show, right?" So I gotta always be careful. I gotta always be careful what I say. All I will say is that Texas does play Georgia this season. And I may or may not stay in Atlanta. All right, anyway, let's get back to the point. Subject at hand. So when our experiences, in my experiences, up into the last couple of years, has been more about kind of the heartbreak of Texas fans, right? And what you guys have gone through. You got to remember, my first year is 2014. So you got to figure 3 years of Charlie Strong. That was my first 3 years on this beat. So, I mean, I'm talking about one bowl game and 2 others, and I'm just chilling in December, right? Then, you have the Tom Herman years, and there's a little bit more success, within that time frame. But, Steve Sarkeesian comes in year 1. You say, you don't have any success. Year 2, they're building with an 8-win season, and we've seen what the last 2 years will look like, right? So it's interesting when you look at it because I don't know what Michelle's talking about. Because when you look at it, I did the math, okay? And listen, I am going to give y'all some math here, okay? So we're clear. I am going to give you math. There will be math, okay? However, it's going to be very simple, basic math, okay? All right, so let's get into this, all right? And let's get into it And good morning to you, Mark Harges, as well. All right, so here's the easiest way to do this. I'm going to show you the scholarship board, and I want y'all to see this, okay? And I'm going to keep the scholarship board up for a hot minute, all right? So just bear with me. If you're listening in the car, I'll try to do my best to navigate this thing. Do not look down at your phone screen. Please stay safe. I'm going to help y'all with something that I think is really, really interesting when you start thinking about this year's team. Okay. Now, everyone knows the simple math, right? Which is there are 85 players, scholarship players on the team, right? Eventually that number will jump to probably 105. But for right now, we're working with an 85 number. Okay. What I'm going to show you is that the majority of players on this year's team, all they know is the dubs. All they know is winning. They don't know any of the other crap that you went through, your PTSD, misfeel. I joked in one of my columns, like, man, it felt like, sometimes when you're being like watching the Longhorns, it was kind of like Charlie Brown and Lucy, and when Lucy kind of takes the ball at the last minute. But then there was times where Texas would actually try to kick the damn ball and they would miss, like against Cal or Georgia or Arizona State, right? So, no matter what, it was always kind of some sort of setback. But look at this, though. So it's 85 scholarship players on the roster, okay? Now, 11 of these players on the roster are first-year transfers, okay? First-year transfers. Okay, so for the purpose of this exercise, y'all, we're going to take the 85 minus the 11. Okay, so we're going to cancel out the first-year guys for the purpose of this exercise. Okay, so we're only going to work with 74. All right, still with me? Okay, now of that, okay, so we've got of that. Now you're looking at this thing. If you go to the far right, you've got 26 of these kids who are incoming freshmen, right? So now, again, we take the 74 minus 26. So now we're basically working with 48 non-freshman players. So that's where our focus is. When I did the math, okay, more than half of this roster, the number ends up being 56.5%, have participated in at least the 2024 SEC championship game and the college football playoff semifinal. A little over half of this year's roster has participated. And I'm not saying that they on the team, right? On the team. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is over half of this team has had that kind of success, okay? So now, if you go to the incoming freshmen, right? So the incoming freshmen, those 26 players, what they're walking into is they're walking into a program that has gone to back-to-back semifinals. That's what they're walking into. So back for all these years, right, we've been having these conversations about the culture, how the culture needs to change, and we need to get a winning culture, the winning, tradition, and get all things back. And, people always talk about Vince Young, right? And, I used to call it, the Longhorn Network used to be the History Channel, because all they did was show old games. So it showed old stuff, but they never actually showed current things, right? Well, the freshmen that stepped on campus in December, all 26 of them are walking straight into a winning program. So from jump, the culture that they walked into is wins, okay? Now, if you go to the redshirt freshman, this is where the math starts getting real easy, okay? Now, if you go to the redshirt freshman and you look at that column, you see those 11 people who are a redshirt freshmen. All of them were part of a college playoff semifinal team their first year on campus. So all of those guys walked into last year was their first year, and they walked in and they're like, oh snap, shoot, this is what we do at Texas. We just go to the semifinals. We went to the SEC championship game, only lost one regular season game, and then we went on, right? So that's what the redshirt freshmen have. Okay, so you got incoming freshmen walking into success, redshirt freshmen year one. All they know is wins. Okay, now here's what's interesting. Okay, so now you start talking about the sophomores. So again, I'm removing Marad Watson, Emmett Mosley, the fifth, right? So all the sophomores, okay, so those are people who've been on campus for 2 years. I know you're like, okay, duh. But I'm also including, the redshirt sophomores as well, okay? We're talking about for their as they go into year 3, they've been on the semifinal teams in 2023 and 2024. Okay. Now, if you go to the juniors, and again, removing those people, there's 8 of them. Okay. There's 8 of them. Every junior on this team has experienced 2 straight winning seasons, right? So if you start thinking about true juniors, when I mean like an Anthony Hill or DeAndre Moore, now they're going into their junior season. All they know is ever since I've stepped foot on campus, we are played in a conference championship game, and we've gone to the semifinals. So even a guy like Arch Manning, who's been on here for two years, that's all he knows. That's the success he knows since stepping on campus. Now there's some seniors here, right? So we got 7 seniors, okay? And I'm removing the Matthew Caldwell, Travis Shaw, Jack Bowmeister, Cole Brevard, Trey Moore, Mason Shipley, right? All these people know is that they've been here for 3 straight winning seasons. 3 straight winning seasons for those people. Okay. That means they were here for the 8-win season. And then of course the last 2 really outstanding years, right? So we got that for the exercise. Now, so we're talking about 8-5 in 2022, 12-2 in 2023, 13-3 in 2024. Big 12 champs 1 year, SEC runner-ups, semifinals for both of those years. Okay. So what does that math leave us with? Okay. This is the awesome part. This is the awesome part. That means on this team, we got 1 redshirt senior, okay, and that's Michael Taft. And Michael Taft basically is the only person left on scholarship who was part of a losing season in 2021. That first year, that 5-win season, only one person really, really, really knows what that life is about. And that's Michael Taft. Everybody else is kind of like, huh? What you talking about? Taft is really the only person. So when you look at this and you look at the roster, the majority of these players, the overwhelming majority of this 85, all they know is they're either walking into a winning program or all they've experienced is wins. And now the culture is so much different because the expectations for the season become way, way different when you start looking at that. Because now, again, you start thinking about, I think about a couple of different things, right? I think about when Charlie Strong was here, right? And everything was about, okay, he's got to change around this culture, right? And so it was Texas players are soft, got to go down to Florida, get Florida players, right? That's going to be the ticket. That's what you need. And they thought the culture would change if you went basically out of state and got the winners and not these soft ass Texas players. And of course, that ends up being a failed experiment, right? And then you have Tom Herman comes in, and again, you're having better years but you have like one good year, which is the Sugar Bowl year. And outside of that, it was kind of just, it was good, wasn't really great, right? And so you still had the letdowns, right? You still had the emotional letdowns, and you can still think of the big games in those last 2 years. It still won the bowl games, but you can still think of big games that Texas lost. It was just like, damn, that happened, right? But now, when you look at the 2025 team, they literally don't. It's like that's a history lesson for them. And so what Sark has been able to do, and what's so great about this team is that when they look at it, all they're thinking in their mind is, we win. So what does that mean? It means like when you start thinking about Ohio State, you might have in your head some games in the past where Texas went on the road and they lost, especially like the big games, right? And this team thinks to themselves, you know what? Well, so we went to Alabama and beat them by 10. We went to Michigan and defending national champs. We beat them down in their house. So Ohio State, what's the big deal? Right? The mentality of it, right? You talk about Red River, and that was always a game. And look, it's a rivalry game, so you take that into consideration, right? But that was always a game that you would go into, and you're like, boy, this here gonna be tough, right? Because they usually had the better quarterback, usually had a better team, better coach, right? And so you just thought, man, it's gonna be tough. And there's guys on this team who will say, man, we've kicked their asses 2 out of the last 3 years. Like, okay, there was that year that we lost, and that was a crazy game. Dylan Gabriel balled out. But I mean, outside of that, we own OU. So they go into that not with an arrogance, but this belief and this confidence that they can do it because it's already been done, right? It's not, let's hope for it. It's that we're going to do it. Now you approach the season, and there always used to be this consolation prize that used to really irk me, used to just irritate the crap out of me, right? And it would always be that consolation prize where people would say, well, if you're bowl eligible, and so now guess what? The freshmen get 15 extra practices in December, and people will always be harassing me. Hey man, how the freshmen looking? Hey man, how the freshmen looking today? And it's like, and now we're in this era where you had this past season, the incoming freshmen were actually able to practice with the team competing for the playoffs. So it wasn't, hey, let's just get these 15 in and let's just look forward to next year. I mean, for the majority of us, we ain't going back to San Antonio or Houston to watch no bowl game unless you get free tickets. If you're a veteran and you get free tickets to something, you might get something like that. Somebody might give you something. You might say, oh, Dion's there. I want to go to San Antonio. But outside of that, we ain't thinking about none of that. That is not on our radar. Texas Bowl, Alamo Bowl, more power to y'all. Have fun. We are not going to be there. You go into this thing thinking to yourself, when is the SEC championship game? Right? And you go into it saying, what do my playoffs look like? You're at the point now where you're starting to think to yourself, okay, playoff perspective. And some of y'all had to do this last year, which is amazing. It's beautiful. Some of y'all had to do it last year. You said, there's a lot of playoff games. I think I need to save my money. Right? You literally was like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna go to Atlanta for, that's a lot of trips there. I don't know if I want to go for the SEC championship game and then the playoff game. I might just wait until the following round. But you have a team now, but that becomes like the expectation. And so now when you start talking about culture, it's easier to kind of pass this thing down from one team to another. because of that's where it's at, right? So look, this is what Sarkeesian said, because Sarkeesian had a quote about. There's two quotes I want to make sure I read to you guys, because I do think these are really indicative of where the program's in. All right, so this happened during SEC Media Days, and this is what Sark said. He goes, "Well, I think the thing with this group," he goes, "and you think about Arch, Anthony Hill, Malik Muhammad, that class of guys going into year 3, they don't know anything different than playing in a conference championship game, playing in the college football playoff, and going to the semifinals. That's been their college experience so far." I mean, mic drop, right? He goes, "But I also know the majority of these guys, they're champions." You said Michael Taft. You think about his high school career and what he was able to do at Westlake. Ethan Burke, Colton Vasek, right? He said Trey Wisner was a champion at DeSoto. So you start saying like, hey, there's a real hunger on our team right now. And I'm much more encouraged than anything else by what they've done this summer. He's say you can see the intent in the way that they're working. We've always got a ways to go, but the intent is there. The mindset is right to be a champion. And it also says, it's a championship lifestyle to ultimately become a champion. Championship lifestyle in order to become a champion. Because, and I think they're probably tired of being close, and they want it. They want to reach the summit. So we'll see how far we can take it. Again, just a different mentality, because all these guys know is dubs. All these guys know is winning. And so what's an interesting part too, as relates to that. So I was talking to Michael Taft in Atlanta, talking to him during SEC Media Days. And I started asking him about this year's team, and specifically like this year's defense, right? And I was like, you guys lost some, but I kind of used the example of, hey, you guys lost guys as defensive tackles before. You guys went from, Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy to Vernon Broughton and Alfred Collins. You guys got more guys coming in. You lost Jade Barron, but you guys got tons of good guys back there. You got Makuba, but you got guys in the secondary. So I basically asked him like, hey, can this defense be as good as last year's defense? And Taft, who has quickly become one of my favorite players, you know what he said to me? And this is his quote. He goes, "What's cool is we've never even talked about last year's defense. And that's never happened before." This is what Taft told me. He goes, "Every other year I've been here, it's always like, all right, let's compare last year's stats to this year's. And how are we going to beat last year's numbers?" And a lot of the times, it's because of how our seasons went, and we were just trying to improve. But this is what he told me. He said, but this year, we were number one in a lot of categories, and we haven't even brought it up what happened last season. Instead, we've talked about being a completely different defense. We've talked about running to the ball every single chance we get, and being that kind of defense where when the opponent turns on the film on Monday, they're like, shoot, we can run this play, but there's going to be 10 hats flying to the ball within 10 yards. And so he's like, we've got the talent. Everybody knows that. But the question is, can we instill the mindset where everybody misses a tackle and the other 10 guys on the field are trying to get the guy down? And different mindset. So that's the thing that's important. What I want you to make sure you guys understand. And that's the thing I want to make sure you guys know about this season, is that when you start thinking about your 2025 Longhorns and you start thinking about the challenges that lie ahead, and you start thinking about the road games, and you start thinking about, okay, Ohio State and Florida is going to be on the road, and Georgia is going to be on the road, and a little bit of a tougher schedule, right? And you start thinking about Red River, and of course you still have Texas A&M, right? And you start thinking about all the other teams in the conference, and you start getting that PTSD thing that happens where you're like, oh, I want to get my hopes up, because if I get my hopes up, something bad's going to happen. Somehow I'm going to be disappointed. I'm here to let you know nobody on the team thinks that way. Everybody on this team thinks we're just going to go back and doing what we would normally do. And that's the beauty of it, because this is what Alabama would be and used to be. I don't know if they're still that right now. Like I kind of down on Alabama at this moment. Catches high on them. I'm a little bit down on them. I don't know what to do and what to think about a program that the coach comes in. He inherits Nick Saban's program. They got 9 wins and they lose to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt in the same year. I don't know about them. But back in the day, that's what Alabama used to do. Just year after year, you walked in and the culture was set. The culture was there. And you either adhere to the culture, or you got the hell out. I mean, ask Ajay Hall. That happened. And so you either, I don't know what happened to Ajay, by the way. I don't know where he's at or if he's at anywhere. I think he was trying to be at UCF and something happened, and sad story. Hopefully he's doing better. And that's now you have guys, those 26 freshmen I told you about, walking into a culture where this is what you do. This is what it takes to win. This is what we do in the off season. This is what Torrey Becton does, right? Even Arch Manning was talking about Torrey Becton and what to expect over the next couple of weeks and him kicking their ass. But everyone knows, okay, Torrey Becton and strength and conditioning staff, they're going to kick our ass, but this is what the payoff is going to be. You can see the gains in it, right? You now see a culture. Sure, we talk about 5 stars, but you also see guys who grow and develop, maybe as 3 stars, and you can see what they're able to do as well. You see a different culture where the best players are playing. You see a culture where guys are coming in and understanding that, okay, I sit, I wait my time, and then here I am. I'll have my opportunity. I'll play for 2 years and I'm going to go pro. Like, that's where we're at as far as that is concerned. And so it's a great day. It's a great day. I think you should be, I'll close with this. I think you should be excited. I mean, excited about this upcoming season. I think you should be thrilled to death about what Texas is about to do. I think you should be thrilled to death about the culture that's been established. But I also think that sometimes you got to take a step back and really appreciate where you are and say, man, this team's come a long way. And sometimes, people don't get the credit, but I think Sark deserves a lot of credit for putting up enough wins and having now just a generation, I don't say generation, a class, but a team. And this is one reason why he's so excited about this team. And by the way, file this in the back of your hat, feather, whatever the thing you want to do. I don't know how you file things away now. I guess you just put it on your phone, right? So file this in the notes in your phone, right? That's how we do things nowadays, or your Alexa app. They're expecting a lot of the guys in the 2025 season to be back in 2026. When you go back, I'll put that back up for you. And I just want you to start looking at, when you look at juniors who have the potential to go pro, okay? You can look at certain, okay, Anthony Hill's probably gone, right? He's probably a top 10 pick. So he's probably out. DeAndre Moore would probably need to ball out in order to leave. So DeAndre Moore, you would need him to kind of do something else. So that's kind of like your underclassman. Moogie, of course, is going to get drafted. And you have a couple of other guys. But look at that sophomore down to the freshman list. And look at how many impact players are going to be there. This team not only has the opportunity to be good this year, or very good, whatever word you want to use, but they're also looking at it as 2026 is going to be another good year where all these guys, or the majority of these guys, including Arch, comes back. It almost becomes a almost badass 2-year window. So in any case, be excited. Be Be joyful, be gleeful. And the last thing I want to say, you guys know I want to. Okay, so the show. Oh, let me tell you about the show real quick. Let me tell you about the show real quick. Let's just kind of have a quick conversation about this. That part's over. I said what I needed to say. As far as the show, the old fashioned show goes, we're having some conversations about it. And there's been some conversations, and it was like, well, should we do it? Should we revamp it? Should we should do away with it? I think we were maybe leaning towards potentially doing away with it, but I don't know. A part of me that says I don't think that's the right move. So we may revamp this thing. I may call it something else instead of old fashioned show. May come up with another cool name, but I don't know. I don't feel like leaving y'all guys in the morning. I just decided, honestly, I was going to do a show today. It's like I got admin access. I'm doing the show. It just is what it is. It is what it is. I didn't have no approval. I just hit the record. I just hit the go live button. So I'm planning to do shows this week. Probably gonna do some shows next week, and I just might do them all the way through the season. I don't know. I that's where I'm leaning towards. So people like Michelle keep asking me about the show. Nate keep asking me about it. Stephanie's asking me about it. Rodolfo, every time I get on the noon show, Rodolfo is like, where the hell are you at? So Money B, so all y'all keep saying stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe I need to listen. Maybe we need to sit down and listen to it. So I think we're just gonna stay. I think we're just gonna stay at this. I think we're just gonna go ahead and do it. Call it something else. I may do it something else with a more of a morning name. Old fashioned shows, kind of. I don't know. I think I could do away with the name, but I think you'll still see me in the morning. So I think that's probably something that we're gonna do. And what is Black Goat says? Are you going on vacation anytime soon? No, but I'm done. So I went to when I went to Atlanta. Me and my lady, we got up there on Friday. So we did some time over there, and then we also had did another kind of vacation somewhere else. We went down. Was it Florida? We went to. I forget where we went to. Damn, it's all starting to run together. But we did another kind of little bit of a vacation. But I'm trying to look through my pictures. I forget where the hell we went to. I know we went on a plane. Anyway. No more vacation, man. Season gets started for me next week, so no more vacations. I'm done. I should be back here. I should be 10 toes down. Probably just gonna keep it going. So but you guys got the people who signed and committed. So y'all are good. Yes, I guess technically I took some vacation last weekend, and you guys got some commits. So maybe there's that. I don't know. We get it. Kegs and eggs with unks. I don't know about. I don't know. No. Can't do kegs and eggs, and I can't do the old fashioned drum. That has to be a late night thing. This is It has to be more morning show, not corporate morning. Like we're not gonna be too boring in the morning. Shut up. All right. Anyway, Mark Ruiz, you're late. You are late, man. Yes, you are late. So you're gonna have to go back to the beginning, Mark. It's got to be something like I don't know. It's got to be a cool name, like Unk and Grits or something. I don't know. Longhorn and Grits. I don't know. I don't even like that. That sucks. I'll figure it out. I'll be back tomorrow though. And we got some more Longhorn stuff to check in. So do me a favor, y'all. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with one of your friends too. Like you got a friend who's a Longhorn friend, share the show with them. Say, hey, I watch this little peanut head guy in the morning, and I think y'all might enjoy him. And make sure you check out all the other shows that are going on here on OB Live. Remember, I always said, live each day like it was your last. I always tell y'all that. I always end the show with that. Live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. We've already seen what this week has looked like. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away. Someone already mentioned Ozzy Osbourne passed away. Like, Man, when I tell y'all that, go out and do something nice for yourself, do something special for yourself. Like, I'm serious. Go ahead and do something because you just never know. So go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your family, put grudges aside, but have a good ass day. It's Wednesday. I'm gonna have to remember I went on vacation. I'm gonna remember in like the next 5 minutes. Yeah, and I'm just gonna watch.